Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to share with you the power and importance of vulnerability. And I'm going to share a simple trick that makes it so much easier to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. My name is Michael Aspiotis. This is my YouTube channel where I'm going to share with you all about the practical application of basic spiritual principles. So let's get started. Vulnerability, I have notes today. The first part of that I want to talk about is being in a state of not knowing. Often we like to think that we have all the answers. This can be especially true for men or people who are really in their masculine energy. You can think of the old stereotypical situation where a man just won't ask for directions because he feels like he should know, or he's sure that he does, even though he may not. So when we're in a state of not knowing the answer, then we're so open to finding the correct solution in that moment. And when we really understand or give ourselves that freedom to not know, then we can ask for help. And that's the second thing I want to talk about, is how important it is when we feel stuck, when we feel overwhelmed, depressed, whatever it is, that absolutely ask somebody for help. There's a tremendous amount of power in being open to receive that help, because that's how we get better. Having an outside person who has an objective point of view, who can really help us see the things that we're stuck on, see the things that are in our blind spot. So that's the second part of the vulnerability. And then when we are in that position, when we're in a therapeutic setting, or going through whichever process, the next part of that, of vulnerability, is really being honest with ourselves and with the people who are trying to help us about what we're feeling in that moment. What is it that's really in our hearts, in our minds? What it is that is really bothering us, and to really allow ourselves the freedom and vulnerability to open and share those feelings. And so, and then once we can see those and get those out into the open, then we can process them, we can deal with them. But if they remain bottled up, it's impossible to process them. They're just going to stay, they're going to stay tucked away. And so this is where the secret trick comes in. So I talked about bottling up feelings, right? That's something we can all relate to. And there's a reason why human beings, people, we keep those doors closed. There's this fear of expanding, if we open certain doors, then we're going to be totally overwhelmed by the emotions that are going to come out. And this is a universal thing, because we're all on a path of growing, and growing requires letting go of old stuff and expanding into new stuff. And we really don't want that expansion to happen all at once. And that's where the fear is, like, okay, if we let go of this old stuff, it's just going to be an overwhelming change, or again, overwhelmed with the emotions that we've been holding on to. So this is where the trick comes in. So the bottling up and holding back of those feelings is control, right? And that's not what we want. We don't want control. What we want is structure. We want a structure which will provide us the safety and security to allow ourselves to open, allow ourselves that vulnerability, and allow ourselves to expand. And so how do we get that structure? I'm going to tell you. It's all about setting an intention. So this is something I'm so excited to share with people, because I know how powerful this is. So the first intention or agreement of this that sets this structure, which was so important for me, was it's about surrender. So I was always so fearful of losing myself to something greater. Like, well, if I put myself in a state of surrender, what am I surrendering to? I'm going to lose myself to something greater, and I was terrified of that. So what really helped me was understanding and setting the intention that I'm only surrendering to the best version of myself. I'm surrendering to that wisest, most joyful, most self-actualized, most peaceful, most clear version of myself. And I'm not going to get too much into our multidimensionality, but only to say that that version of ourselves always exists. We are timeless and we are multidimensional. And so that version of ourselves exists now. And so if I set this intention that, hey, when I'm surrendering, I'm only surrendering to that best version of myself. For me, that gave me a tremendous amount of ease and safety, which allowed me to really let go of a lot of old things and attachments. So that's the first intention or agreement, is that we're surrendering to ourselves. The second part is an agreement I make with existence itself. And this is where I acknowledge that I'm on a path of growth and expansion. And my agreement is directly with existence, where I'm going on this path and I want this path to be as easy and gentle and as possible, to unfold in the most loving way possible. And we all have the power to decide how our lives unfold. So by setting this agreement, it makes it clear that everything's going to unfold in the easiest way possible. So I can open up those doors, and I know that some emotions are going to come out, some old stuff, and it could be scary, but it's not all going to just all come out at once. I'm not going to be overwhelmed. And so this agreement also cancels out anything else I may have signed up for in the future. So for instance, there could be some super powerful lessons that I would learn by getting in a car accident and ending up in the hospital for 2 years. You could learn so many things. You could have so much soul expansion and growth through all the trials and tribulations from that kind of a circumstance. Now, if there's an easier, more gentle way to learn all those things, I want to cancel out any car accidents, anything that is traumatic or violent or not gentle. I'm going to cancel all those things out, and moving forward, I'm setting my intention, setting my agreement with existence that my path forward is going to always unfold in the gentlest, easiest way possible. And so that's the second part of this structure. So I'm only surrendering to myself, and everything is going to unfold in the gentlest, easiest way possible. And that's it. And then that allows us to really, in our meditations, in therapeutic settings, to really relax and to let go and to open up and to more easily and more gracefully go on this journey of becoming more and more of who we are. So thank you for listening. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know, put it in the comments. And thanks for stopping by. See you next time.